Hello, everybody. My name is Martha Alter Hines with Living the One Light. All right. Hello and welcome to everybody. If you're new here or if you have been here for years, super happy you're here. Um, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the very powerful lunar eclipse, which I have been talking about. If you've been watching my videos for months, I've been talking about this lunar eclipse because a year ago, I saw it coming and I went, whoa, this lunar eclipse is going to be so massively powerful. And here we are. It's coming up on August 27th for the Pacific. I mean, the west coast of the Americas, Hawaii, etc., Alaska. But for most of the world, it is actually August 28th. And it's going to be a full moon at 4 degrees of Pisces. And again, a lunar eclipse on the north node of the moon in Aquarius. So I have so many feelings, so many thoughts about this lunar eclipse. It is wow. And I've been sitting here just trying to distill, what's the essence of what is wanting to come through. So as always, I'm also going to channel, and I think that will be, I'm really looking forward to that because I think that will distill the point the best. But in the meantime, I will give you some of my thoughts and also show you the chart, show you the where it is going to be in the sky, um, and show you the solar system scope, three-dimensional version of what's going to be happening at that point. So one of the things I'll start with is that 4 degrees of Pisces is where the moon is going to be with the star Fomalhaut. So the star Fomalhaut is so beautiful. Um, it is a star. I'll show it to you in a minute on the stellarium, but it is a star. It's one of the royal stars, and it's associated with the Archangel Gabriel. But for me, it's actually very associated with just angel and archangel realms in general. Um, and in my relating to the angels, up until now, I haven't really personally gotten so specific, distinguishing them in that way. But I do know that Archangel Gabriel is often associated with being a messenger, being, yeah, about communication, about discerning what's in integrity and what's not, that kind of thing. So, and the star Fomalhaut is often associated with channeling, with our connections with the spirit world, certainly the art, the angel realms, all of that, but just the spirit world in general. And this lunar eclipse is holding space for us to be connecting in with the spirit realms like never before. That's the potential I feel in it for a lot of people. Um, and no good or bad or right or wrong if that's what it ends up feeling like for you. But I've been feeling that. I've been talking about that for a long time now because I have been feeling this coming. And yeah, I have been witnessing a lot of you softening, in your conception of how connecting with the spirit world should be. And what I've been witnessing is that, not surprisingly, as we let go of the shoulds, then suddenly that's when things start to flow. And so we've been really getting supported just really in the last year and a half to be letting go of those shoulds, to be letting go of that perfectionism with when the South Node was in Virgo for a year and a half until very, very recently, North Node in Pisces. Um, Releasing that, really forgiving ourselves, having this radical forgiveness energy in general. And now the nodes have switched into Leo and Aquarius, but this lunar eclipse is kind of the last hurrah of the energy of the nodes having been in Virgo and Pisces. And it's like a last hurrah, but with fireworks, like with extra, mm, almost, I want to say like fairy dust. It's like, because it's with the star Fomalhaut, which is Pisces on steroids in a way for me. So, yeah, and as I'll show you in a second, Uranus also is squaring the sun and the moon and the nodes at the time of this lunar eclipse. It's like, whoa, Uranus in Gemini helping us radically connect with our true reality, our truth of ourselves as the intelligence of the divine, and our voice and our communicating. Again, there's all these themes of communication, and not just communication through like linear logic, but true flowing between ourselves and the spirit world, all forms of life, all the benevolent realms, um, and channeling, certainly channeling. Yes, if you were already kind of like on the edge of feeling ready to channel, this energy could easily go poop, and then it just flows, you know? And I'm not saying, I mean, that's totally okay if that doesn't happen. I get nervous to say these kind of things because a lot of people tend to, yeah, feel down if that's not what happens. And I'm just saying it's all good. But that energy is definitely very, very alive right now, and certainly at the time of this lunar eclipse. And we're already in the energies of it. Okay, so that's some of my thoughts about the actual lunar eclipse, but I also want to back up and talk about the fact that this lunar eclipse is the culmination. It's like the midway point, but also the culminating moment, the crescendo moment of the lunar cycle that we're now in, that started at the solar eclipse. So I'm recording this on August 13th. The solar eclipse was yesterday, August 12th. And you know, a lunar cycle starts at a new moon. So a solar eclipse is a new moon. So yesterday we had a new moon, which happened to also be this very amazing total solar eclipse, which lots of you got to be part of, and we all got to be part of, but some of you actually witnessed it. So that lunar eclipse was a new moon at 20 degrees of Leo. I did a whole video on that. I did a channeling yesterday for those of you in the Mercury journey. And so I want to take a moment to just remind ourselves, you know, just come and feel what that energy was like for you, for us. I can say a little more about what that felt like for me, because that's the energetic that starts the whole lunar cycle coming, which is culminating at the that's the whole lunar cycle that culminates at the lunar eclipse. And so what came through really strongly in my prayers this morning to really highlight about the solar eclipse and how it's setting the stage for the lunar eclipse and this whole month-long cycle. And really, actually, eclipses also have, you know, 19-year cycles. So it's also setting the stage for a whole next 19-year cycle. In addition, it's not just the monthly cycle. It's the eclipse cycle too. So yeah, so what really is particularly alive for me in the energetics of the solar eclipse, which again happened yesterday, August 12th, 20 degrees of Leo on the south node in Leo, with the north node in Aquarius and Cheroklo on the north node in Aquarius. The biggest energetic for me personally, but again, this is what my guides are telling me to talk about, is the potential in the energetics of that solar eclipse to really support us to be the light that we are, Leo, and be held to come into the crystalline light form that we are. So if you haven't heard it yet, or even if you have and you want to just go back and do it again, I highly recommend the channeling I did at the end of my solar eclipse video. A lot of you said it was really, really, really powerful. For you, one of you said it was the most powerful channeling you've heard me do. I mean, I don't know. For certain people, it's going to resonate more than others, but it seemed to resonate really strongly for a lot of people. So if you haven't heard it, definitely recommend it. And what came through for me then in my prayers this morning that they wanted me to say is, because the solar eclipse is the beginning of the lunar cycle, which includes the lunar eclipse, that solar eclipse energy and the potential for us to be being held to come into our crystalline light form is like the anchor point, and then the lunar eclipse energetic adds to it, like mm, builds on that. So what they're telling me and what they're showing me is that the two together, this is like the most exquisite. I love this eclipse season. It's so exquisite. The solar eclipse helps us ground in being a whole new way in our crystalline light body, the reality that we are light and earth as one, and we have crystalline form. We are moving into that more and more and more. And then the lunar eclipse comes along with this powerful angelic realm energetic and the Archangel Gabriel energy, the Fomalhaut energy, all of it. And it's like our crystalline form is then informed by and supported by and held by our angel self and our angel realm energy, and the energies of the angel and archangel realms, period. So I don't know if you can feel that. To me, that feels like there's this crystalline, very Aquarian-ish kind of energetic, and then that's met with the Piscean energies, which are more kind of universal and so hard to put it into words, but maybe you can just feel the combination of the two. It's basically Aquarius and Uranus and Pisces joining, like melding. When we combine the solar eclipse followed by the lunar eclipse. So exquisite. So, yeah. Okay. Um, so many things I want to say. So many things. Oh, so good. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you just to ground this a little bit, I'm going to show you the actual chart, etc. And then there's one more layer the human me wants to say about why this feels so important to me and how this plays out in a very practical way. Like, what difference does this make, in a sense? Yeah, and how it connects to my sense of, new earth and or to put it another way, just what is it here? What is it that we are here co-creating, and why are these energies so important? So I'll come back to that in a second, but let me, first pull up the chart because I haven't even shown you the chart because I just have so many things I want to say. Okay. So sorry about that. One second. All right. So here is the lunar eclipse chart. So like I was saying, it is a full moon at 4 degrees, 54 minutes of Pisces. So very close to 5 degrees. Here's the sun, 4 degrees, 54 minutes of Virgo. And Mercury is going to be exactly behind the sun on that same day. Uh, it will be behind the sun at 4 degrees of Virgo. By the time of the actual lunar eclipse, Mercury will be at 5 degrees of Virgo, but still, basically lined up right behind the sun. And on the north node of the moon, which is still, of course, in Aquarius, there is Cheroklo still holding that very beautiful Cheroklo healing holding space. With the moon, and with Astraea. So, yeah, so hang on, I'm gonna show you one other thing here. Okay, so here next to the moon, Fomalhaut, the star, and also right there with the moon, the asteroid in the asteroid belt, so between Mars and Jupiter, one of the little asteroids is Astraea. So Astraea, very important asteroid in these times, especially Astraea, long story short, she's the goddess who, the story goes that she was the last of the gods and goddesses to leave the earth during the Golden Age. Again, this is, the Greek mythological story in a nutshell. In the Golden Age, the gods and goddesses lived on the earth with the humans. And then the Golden Age ended and humans started, having violence and doing not good things. And so one by one, the gods and goddesses started to say, forget about this. We don't want to be part of this. We don't want to experience this human not good stuff. So they started leaving the earth. But Astraea said, no, I'm really here. I'm dedicated to supporting the humans and supporting the earth. I'm going to stay. But things got really, really bad and bad enough that finally she also said, okay, well, I gotta go. So she left the earth and she went up into the stars. Her name, of course, means star, right? Astraea. Um, and she became the constellation of Virgo, or the goddess. She's often associated with the goddess that is depicted in the Virgo constellation. She's one of the many, many, many goddesses depicted or associated with the Virgo constellation. And interestingly, I just noticed this. At the time of this full moon, actually, Venus, of all beings, will be in the constellation of Virgo. I mean, it's in Libra, but the entirety of the sign of Libra actually is right in the heart of the constellation of the goddess or Virgo. And not only that, Venus is getting very, very close to the star Spica. And Venus is about to have its retrograde time, which is going to go between 22 degrees of Libra and around 8-ish degrees of Scorpio. I'll make a whole video just on the Venus retrograde, I am sure, because it is such a beautiful Venus retrograde coming up. I mean, all Venus retrogrades, of course, are beautiful, but yes, this one is really potent and very, among other things to me, absolutely highlighting the return of the full divine feminine and the elder divine feminine and her the gifts she brings to the world, because Spica the star is the hand of the goddess, so the hand of Astraea or many other goddesses, but for example Astraea, um or Ceres holding a shaft of wheat, or Astraea holding the scales of justice. So this Spica star, represents in a whole bunch of different ways the goddess holding the wisdom of the true full divine feminine, the mature divine feminine in her totality, her totalness, her wholeness, and us bringing that back to earth. So then the last part of the story about Astraea is that, she went up, became this goddess constellation, but the story then goes that when she returns to the earth, she will bring back the golden age. So that's us. That's all of us. That's what we're here. That's what we're doing. My own Astraea is actually in Pisces with conjunct my natal sun. So, I mean, it's very, very strong in my chart. It's very, very strong in a lot of your charts that I've seen. And Astraea has been a big player this whole year in the astrology of all of 2026. And here she is, conjunct the moon at this very powerful lunar eclipse. So this lunar eclipse absolutely has a really, really, really strong, powerful energy of us landing in the truth of who we are, that divine intelligence that we are, bringing through messages that bring back the golden age, and the truth that we are here as we are bringing back the golden age. That's what we're doing, literally. That's why I think I'm here. I think that's why all of us are here. If you're interested in me or this video, I basically promise you that's why you're on the planet. Um, yeah, so this lunar eclipse just has that signature so prominently. And the south node there still with Regulus, the star, another one of the royal stars, and Regulus being so much about ourselves as sacred heart-based leaders. So again, this theme, very, very strong, that we are here to, yeah, to land in our true power, our true divine intelligence, and bring back the golden age. Do it together in community, North Node and Aquarius, etc. So, yeah, I'm gonna say one more thing here. Actually, okay, let me just finish up showing you the different things about the astronomy, etc., and the astrology. And then I'll say that one more thing. Um, okay. So here is the full moon on Stellarium, which again is a free website. You can go and look up anything you want there. This is the day of the lunar eclipse, and here is where the moon is going to be. So it's in at 4 degrees of the sign of Pisces, but it's actually right in the heart of the Aquarius constellation or the water bearer constellation here, and just south of the moon in the constellation of the southern fish, the mouth of the southern fish. This is Fomalhaut. So you see how the moon is lined right up with Fomalhaut, and right in the belly of the water bearer. Okay, so the water bearer constellation is holding the waters of the divine here and pouring the waters of the divine into the mouth of the southern fish. And again, the mouth of the southern fish is Fomalhaut. So the moon is in the water bearer and lined right up with where the waters of the divine are flowing. So again, this, I would be really, really curious. I would love for you to share with us what comes alive for you when you just tune into this section of things. But for me, absolutely so much to do with channeling, with being a messenger literally of the divine, etc. My own Mercury is at 5 degrees of Pisces, so I really love this part of the sky and I really, really, really resonate with it. Is definitely my Mercury being at 5 degrees of Pisces for sure, to me, is a humongous energetic in my own chart about me being a channeler, etc. But yes, so this is big time. Mm, the flow of the divine, very alive at this lunar eclipse, and the magic of that. Yeah, and the fact that we're bringing back the golden age with it. So let me put actually Astraea in here. Here's Astraea, right with the moon. Also, yeah, just slightly south of the moon, and also lined up with Fomalhaut. Amazing. Okay, and then, oh, and let me actually, just because we're here, why don't I actually show you Venus? Again, I'll do a whole video on Venus, on the Venus retrograde. I'll show you the whole Venus retrograde in the sky, but you can see here Venus about to be conjunct Spica, the star, in the hand of the goddess. And this goddess, one of the many goddesses associated with this Virgo constellation, is Astraea. Okay, so Venus getting really, really close to Spica, and Venus is then going to continue on this way to the scales, and then is going to return back to Spica and go direct conjunct Spica. So this is coming up in the next 2-3 months. I'll do a whole video on it, but just this energetic of the goddess, of the full divine feminine, the gifts of the full divine feminine, and this Astraea energy, so alive right now and for this lunar eclipse and for the next 2-3 months. Beautiful, really, really beautiful. And then last but not least is the solar system scope view. Okay, so I wanted to start actually by showing you the solar system scope for the solar eclipse, which again was yesterday, August 12th, because you can see the seeds, the lunar eclipse. Okay, here's the Earth, here's the teeny tiny moon. Yesterday, lined right up between the sun and the Earth. So for parts of the Earth like Iceland, Greenland, etc., the moon completely blocked out the light of the sun for just a minute or two. but that's a solar eclipse. It's a new moon. And here's Mercury making its way around the sun. Okay. And I'm going to see if I can play this. Will it work? So you can watch this little moon as it's going to make its way around the Earth to the other side of the Earth. That's when it's going to be the lunar eclipse on August 27th, 28th. And also watch Mercury, because Mercury, by the time of the lunar eclipse, is going to be lined up exactly behind the sun relative to the Earth. So let's see if I can make this. And also watch Venus. Venus is coming around here. She's about to go retrograde. But what that means is that she's about to come between the sun and the Earth, which is what Mercury just did, right? Mercury, we just had the Mercury retrograde, and now Mercury is making its way back to the other side of the sun relative to us. But Venus is about to now enter that sort of, I would call it like a chalice space, or a very sacred space between the sun and the Earth. That's where Venus is heading, coming up soon. Okay, so keep your eye on the moon, Mercury, Venus, whatever you're called to, and you can come back and play this over and over again if you want to watch it multiple times. Or you can do this on Solar System Scope yourself. Okay, let's see if I can do this correctly now. All right, watch that. Here's the moon coming around the Earth. And watch, also notice how the sun is turning, right? The Earth, we know, turns on its axis, but so does the sun. So does everything, actually. So here comes the moon. Right about here is the quarter moon, the first quarter moon. That's August 19th. We keep going. It's August 21st. Look, Mercury line it going up, going behind the sun. And August 24th. Everything is getting in order, getting in line, right? The moon coming around the sun, Mercury getting, yeah, okay, so stop here. August 27th. There we are. The moon lined up right behind the Earth, then the sun, and then on the other side of the sun, Mercury. And for those of you in the Mercury journey, this is going to be the last day, the last gathering we have for the whole Mercury journey, because we started the Mercury journey with Mercury behind the sun. We've been with Mercury going one time all the way around the sun, and we're ending the journey with Mercury again behind the sun, which happens to be the day of this lunar eclipse. It's like exquisite the way this is all working out. Okay, so yeah, so at the time of this lunar eclipse, what's going to be happening is that the way that the Earth and the moon and the sun happen to line up at this time is going to mean that as the moon comes around this, you could say, back of the Earth, opposite the sun, it's going to come exactly into the shadow that the Earth creates, and the moon will look like a big, bright, full moon, and it's going to slowly that night come into the shadow of the Earth, and the moon light will disappear almost entirely, not completely entirely. There'll be some Earth shine on the moon still, but if you're able to see the eclipsed moon, it will look like a naked moon, basically. So it'll go from looking like a bright, big full moon to slowly getting eclipsed, and then being this sort of naked looking moon. And yeah, and it's like, for me, the lunar eclipse is often like this time when the Earth, when Gaia and the moon have this very intimate moment together. And that will be visible certainly for the east coast of the Americas, somewhat maybe for those of us on the west coast. If it's dark by then, it'd be 9 something p.m., which actually it should be dark by then for most of us. And for much of the Atlantic Ocean, it'll be visible. I'm not sure. Yeah, once you get all the way over to the UK, etc., be very early in the morning for you when it's happening. So I'm not sure how visible it'll be for all of you, but yeah, but certainly for the people on the East Coast, it'll be a little after midnight when it's happening, and definitely visible if you have clear skies. So Yeah, amazing. Um, and what we can see also here is that the Sun and Mercury are lined up right in the Leo Lion constellation. And if we turn this around and look behind the moon, here is the Southern Fish and Fomalhaut. So the moon lined right up there with Fomalhaut. Okay, yeah, so much more I could say. My goodness. This is just such a big, big lunar eclipse. Okay. All right. Okay. So there is so much here. But the one other thing I feel called to just name a little bit from Martha Me is hmm, how important and what an impact it makes when it's this question of like, well, why would we bother trying to come into our quote unquote our crystalline light bodies or ourselves as the light or any of that? What difference does that make? Or, even connecting with the angel realms, all of this that is so alive in these energies. And the whole theme of communication, again, you probably heard me just describing so many themes in this chart also about communication. That theme has been particularly potently alive in my world, and I would say in the world in general. Um, and one of the things I've been sitting with in terms of, what is New Earth? What is it that we are? How do we create that? Um, what difference does it make if we become our crystalline bodies or connect with the spirit realms, etc.? Okay, I mean, that's a very long answer, and we would each have so much we could add to that answer, and I definitely could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about that. But one of the things I just want to name that I've been observing is that for me, one of the things that I feel in my being as I feel these energies of myself really being supported to come more and more into that crystalline state of being, it feels really important to name that it is not a kind of like, spiritual bypassing, just living love and light all the time energy. It's not like, oh, suddenly we snap our fingers and we're pure joy and love. That's partly true. I mean, for sure, part of what goes on for me in that is that when I'm landed in that, I'm really embodying it. I absolutely feel joy. I feel powerful divine love. I mean, so strongly. And that's great in and of itself because that means that I can go through my day or go through the world, way more spreading love and light, that's for sure, than if I'm kind of not so much in that mode. I mean, yeah, it's a lot harder in lots of ways. But the other part of it is it's a little more subtle that I've been noticing is that when I'm in that crystalline part of me, that crystalline state of being more and more, what it also does is that if I bring it together with my commitment to be really self-honest and clear and dedicated to my own understanding of my own needs, my own self, my own like the self-honesty I talked about in I think the last video or a couple of videos where noticing if there's any way I'm being out of integrity or I have been out of integrity and really coming back to trying to correct that as much as I can. One of the things that I recognized recently that the crystalline light body helps me do is to to witness myself much more clearly, right? That crystalline energetic, tell me how it is for you guys, but the crystalline energetic helps me have that eagle's eye vision even internally. And I can feel it so much more easily. Um, Energies that are ready to go can just go so much faster, so much faster. And I can also recognize it when my feelings are mine versus other people. And and then what what I notice happening is that if I'm in a sort of more difficult situation, or there's some kind of interpersonal something somewhat negative or something, I'm able to land in myself and handle it in a way that I take things much less personally, and therefore I'm able to be really honest and recognize if there's something I need to do differently. Um, and I'm much less likely to get caught up in drama. So bottom line, communication skills become so much easier. And one thing I've been witnessing recently, I was involved with a couple of different situations where, uh, long story short, basically I was witnessing other people doing what I would consider not handling things well. Um, and I was, yeah, so many things I could say about all that. But basically, I was able to witness that if I weren't as much in that sort of crystalline state of being, it'd be so much easier to get caught up in the drama, get take things personally, spin my wheels. If I were to insert myself in those situations, which luckily I wasn't really involved with, um, I was observing people spending a lot of time just sort of attacking each other, right? And it's like a very negative sort of scorpionic-y kind of drama-y energy. And the Aquarian energy helps us step out, see the whole picture. And if we're able to even embody that crystalline energy in us, we can release like any of the sort of negative energies that we might have or have had. We can just let it go. Okay. Yeah, I don't need to I don't need to be caught in it in any way. I can just be clear and clean, and be honest. If there are things here I need to address, then great. Or if there are things I need to name about my own needs, I can do that. Um, but it just flows so much better. And again, I could go on and on and on, but the bottom line being that one of the things I'm recognizing is that as we are moving into this time of co-creating new earth together, this communication skill thing is really crucial, really important, and pretty lacking in most of the world, even in a lot of, spiritually astrology type world. Like, mm, yeah, it's pretty amazing when I come across people who do the communication skills really, really, really with impeccable integrity, and are able to have that self-honesty and the beautiful way of communicating, from love and compassion and deep listening. So actually this Venus retrograde, in Libra, deep listening, and Libra and Scorpio, that's going to be one of the themes there, big time. Um, yeah, it's a whole set of skills that most of the world hasn't learned. And I would say all of us still have ways, we still all can learn more. But it's something I've worked on really, really, really hard. I'm grateful I have some of those skills. And yeah, and I'm not perfect and I'm still working on it, right? But it's absolutely crucial. And that's not a snapping the fingers kind of a thing. That is a dedication to really honing those skills. But coming into our crystalline body, being held by the spirit world, all of it can really support that, among so many other things. And yeah, and I think the other big component there is having this Piscean angelic realm energy involved also helps us hold that field of love, which is, a big part of what Susie Miller talks about, what Ann Tucker and I talked about in our conversation about her recent amazing book. Lots and lots of other people talking about similar thing. David Clements and I both talked a lot about that in one or both of the videos we did a year ago on the inner earth beings. And yeah, all the realms. I mean, all the realms I'm in connection with, that's their state of being, is the field of love. And that is what's coming back into being through us as us. And it feels like basically the crystalline structure of ourself supports us then to also be the Piscean self. But the Piscean self holds the crystalline self, right? They dance together. It's Aquarius, Pisces. They're a really beautiful pair, which is what this lunar eclipse is the Aquarius North Node with Chariklo and the Pisces moon, full moon with Astraea in Pisces also. It's so exquisite, honestly. Okay. So that's a lot of Martha me talking, and now I'm gonna channel. Cool. So yes, and before I record real quick, I'll just tell you the things coming up. So this Sunday, August 16th, a bunch of you I will see in person, which is super exciting. I cannot wait. If you haven't joined and want to join either the actual in-person gathering with me and the Inner Earth beings, Ben Huis, etc., here in Santa Barbara, California, either literally coming physically live, you can do that, or you can have the recordings. You can sign up for that basically by donation. I also created a Lemurian light codes sort of travel guide, talking about my favorite spots along the California coast and then up kind of Vancouver-y, Victoria area. But I especially talk about the area between Santa Barbara and Marin County. And like my favorite shops and restaurants and like where I experience Lemurian light portals. And yeah, so I walk you through that comes whether you sign up for the in-person Santa Barbara gathering on Sunday or the recordings. And that's that's by donation. So that's available. Um, and then next week I will be at Soul Magic here in Santa Barbara with Lee Harris. I know some of you are coming to that. That's great. So I'll be quieter next week, but probably still not fully quiet. Put up some things and let's see. And then and then the big things coming up though are in September. I'm starting the Angels Alive journey on September 14th with Emmanuel Dagger. So that's going to be amazing, where we really bring back our relationship with the angels and archangel realms. And I didn't even realize how perfect the timing is given the energies of this lunar eclipse just before we go into that journey. So yeah, if you haven't signed up for that, we made the pricing, very low, sliding scale. So hopefully as many of you as possible can join. And then also September 9th, Emmanuel and I, along with Mark Harris, the brother of Lee Harris, we are starting this uh, New Earth soul business journey. And that is for anybody, certainly if you have a soul-led business, something coming from your soul that you're putting in that kind of quote unquote business form. But it's also if you feel a calling to you feel a soul calling to support the world in some way, and you're not sure how to start that. You want really practical advice about how to come how to feel the wisdom of your own light, your own divine spark, and figuring out what is my soul calling and then how to put it into practical form that can then support you and really help you thrive and help the world thrive. So win-win-win. How to do it in a win-win-win way, essentially, and in an ethical way. That's what that journey is about. And you don't have to want to start a business, actually. I want to clarify that because I've gotten a lot of really good questions about that. Certainly this would support you if you do want to, make a website and all of that. But it could be really supportive for it's for people who feel a really strong soul calling to support the world in some way, and you want support putting that into action, again, in a win-win way, without all of the sort of more stereotypical yucky marketing advice. which I don't like and I don't follow and I don't, yeah, wouldn't advocate. Yeah, so that starts September 9th. I'm super excited about both of those. And they will definitely flow together. So if you're joining the soul business journey, I would highly recommend doing the angel one also because we will definitely reference the angel one in the soul business one. The angel one, you know, that's more of a, yeah, I can see people doing the angel and not the soul business. But if you're doing the soul business, I definitely recommend both. But of course, follow whatever feels right to you. Um, yeah, those are the big things. I think that's it. There's always more, but that's what's coming to me right this second. Okay, let's channel. Okay, hello and welcome. Yes, of course, we are here as beings of the Angel and Archangel Realms. And we are so excited to be connecting with you and as you. And as Martha was saying, the energies of this lunar eclipse and leading up to the lunar eclipse are highlighting yourselves as beings of the Angel and Archangel Realms. And certainly we are coming online more and more powerfully for you, for many of you. We are one of the realms that has been, you could say, the least relegated to the sidelines during the time of great forgetting. So some of the infinite benevolent realms have gone literally underground. Some have been even forgotten in folklore or fairy tales, such as the inner earth beings. They're barely talked about in the time of great forgetting. Angels, we have managed to somehow be much more prevalent and present in the consciousness and the awareness of humanity, even through the time of great forgetting. But now is the time when you could say we are here heralding this change. And in a certain sense, part of the importance of us coming online so powerfully now is that we are then going to be able to, on one level, pave the way for all the other benevolent realms to come much more powerfully online over the coming weeks, months, years, and decades ahead. Because we energetically are, we're a sort of fundamental kind of overarching energetic. And we have, as we already said, we haven't been as forgotten. So on one level, I would guess, or we would guess that we perhaps get more taken for granted than, let's say, inner earth beings, etc. But on another level, we are easier to engage with for many, many humans because we aren't as unknown or as unfamiliar on a conscious level. So when we come back online, it's like it's one outer layer of the onion, one of the most outer layers of the onion. As we peel down to the core, and as your awareness, your connection with the infinite benevolent realms gets more and more and more deep and complete over time, and as the infinite benevolent realms come back more and more into the consciousness of all of humanity eventually. So, yes, so again, welcome. You are likely very familiar with angel or archangel energy, although perhaps not. The first thing we want to do today is give you just a moment to calibrate, feel the energetics of our energies, our many layers of our energies, our presence and presences. Even just tune in and feel the differences between what you might call angel realms and archangel realms. Of course, we are very connected, but we have a different frequency, a different energy, a different presence, each and every one of us, but also these two realms of us, or multiple realms of us. We just invite you just to drop in and feel our presence. And what we would love to offer is that in this sort of, you could call it first step of reconnecting in with yourself as an angel and with the archangel and angel realms in general, we would guess that over the coming weeks, months, years, and decades ahead, your remembering of yourself as an angel, an archangel, and just those realms in general is going to become so powerful, so strong, like a just like breathing, just that you breathe in and out and you are experiencing the air and the atmosphere of Gaia. Just like that, your relationship with angels and archangels over time will become sort of seamless. So, and this can happen in, many different ways. You might already have that kind of relationship, although most of you probably don't quite yet, but we will be supporting you in coming back into that in many ways over the coming, again, weeks, months, years, and decades ahead. But the first step, which we want to hold space for you in this time leading up to this beautiful, powerful, quite angelic and archangelic lunar eclipse energy, we want to support you to remember yourself as an angel. So, coming into that, we invite you to take a long, slow, deep breath. And breathing in and out. We invite you actually first to come back. If you did participate in the solar eclipse channeling that Martha did here on the YouTube channel, we invite you to come back to that energetic. If you didn't, that's absolutely fine. And if you've forgotten what you experienced, then that's also completely fine. We will lead you through a kind of remembering of it, or a mini version here. And then we'll move to the angel and archangel and energy and remembering yourself as an angel. So again, taking a long, slow, deep breath, we invite you to remember that in that channeling, you were being held by beings of the sun. So beings of the star beings of the sun, because the sun is a star. And you were being held in a powerful sacred circle, where in the center of the circle was a crystalline chamber. And we'd invite you to come back into this crystalline chamber, see the chamber opening. It's the perfect size for your body to fit inside. Imagine yourself being held near the star you call your sun, with this crystalline chamber. opening for you. And we invite you to, if and as you like, step into that crystalline chamber. Feel the door close and feel the light codes of your own being lighting up. And on the count of 3, just like you may have experienced in that solar eclipse channeling, on the count of 3, we invite you to feel all the beings of the sun and the other beings of your perfect spirit team here holding the sacred circle for you. On the count of 3, they are going to raise their sort of magic wands and tap the outside of that crystalline chamber. And then your crystalline light body, your crystalline light being, and the highest light codes of you are going to light back up all the way inside this crystalline chamber. And you're going to be ignited as the crystalline being, walking, talking, crystalline being that is literally you in crystalline light earth form. That is what you literally are and are moving more and more powerfully into here and now. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Feel those star sun beings tapping their wands on the outside of this crystalline chamber, holding you and your light codes lighting up, and the crystalline light form of you igniting. So again, say it again. 1, 2, 3. Crystalline light form of you, ignite. And ignite. And ignite again and again and again. And we invite you to feel yourself now as this crystalline, beautiful crystalline being that is innately who you ultimately are, with your ultimate light codes turned on all the way. And now we invite you to feel the chamber of the crystalline, this crystalline chamber open, the door of the crystalline chamber open. And greeting you at that open door are 2 or maybe more beings of the angel and or archangel realms. We invite you to notice that they are reaching out to you, and if and as you like, give them permission. We'll speak as though you're giving permission, but if you're not for any reason, that is completely fine. And only with your permission now, they will lift you up and take you right into the realms of the angel and archangel worlds, those realms. And we invite you, as you rise into the angel and archangel realms, to come to the very top and the center of these realms. And in this center, we invite you to raise your body, open your heart and your whole being straight up to the light. This is the light of the divine. And we invite you to open up your body and your being in this crystalline light realm, ultimate light codes being of you, to open it and let the light of the divine itself ignite and hold you and raise you to the light, ultimate light of the divine. And just feel yourself held in this way and being ignited so powerfully. This is, in a sense, Aquarius and Pisces powerfully coming together into the light of the one as you. And this light of the one as you, and especially if you go to the ultimate light codes of existence, that ultimate light, those light codes of existence are infinity itself. So on the ultimate level, you are the particles of light of infinity. You are source itself. And those particles of light of infinity, those original codes of existence, they are the building blocks of literally anything and everything. So in a moment, we're going to support you to become the angelic or archangel being of you, one of the many. But we want to pause here for a moment and point out that on the ultimate level, you are really the original light codes of existence, which are the definition of infinity itself. You are anything and everything. It's very important. So just giving you a moment to feel that. You can stay there in that reality as long as you want and as long as you need. And then after that little pause, it's kind of like cleansing the palate. We now invite you to feel that those ultimate light codes of you now blending and merging and knowing the divine intelligence of exactly you and forming into the beautiful ultimate light code angel or archangel being that is precisely you in this exact moment. And the reality is you're actually the form of many, many, many angels and archangels. You can be anything because you are literal infinity itself. But in this moment, we invite you to notice, to feel the angel or archangel realm being that is exactly you here and right now. And breathing in and out, we invite you to feel and see as this being of the angel or archangel realms. How is that feeling in your body, in your heart in particular, in your arms, your shoulders, your hands also, your torso, your hips, your reproductive organs, your legs, your knees, your calves, your feet, your toes, your neck, your throat, your voice, your head, your third eye, your physical eyes, nose, ears, mouth, your your third eye or your sixth chakra, your pineal gland, your seventh chakra, your crown chakra, your soul star chakra above your head, and your earth star chakra in the earth beneath your feet, and then down into the light of the heart of Gaia, and also all the way up into the light of the heart of Source. So you as this angel or archangel realm being, what is it feeling like in this totality of who you are? Perhaps you feel a kind of crown on your head, an angel or an angel realm golden form above your head, maybe sort of like a halo or a crown or something else. And again, we invite you to especially notice the magic of your heart in this angel or archangel realm form, and any other part of your body or your etheric body or energy body calling to you. And just notice the balancing and the healing in your body and your energy system as well. For you, notice also the palms of your hands. They might come quite alive because this angel and archangel realm energetic is powerfully, powerfully, powerfully healing. When you're in this state of being, when you walk into a room, you can either literally or just even with your intention, sort of wave your hand and fill the room with Angel and Archangel Realm powerful healing light. Because that's who you are. That's what everyone is, actually. And what happens when you do that is that you are igniting that truth of the light and the angel reality of everyone else in the room and the room itself. You're bringing heaven back to earth. That's that Astraea in Pisces conjunct this lunar eclipse, the moon itself. That's you as an angel or archangel. You are heaven as earth, which is Astraea in Pisces. That is what you are. Every single one, every single being. That's the ultimate reality. So breathing in and out. We invite you to just settle in this energetic of you as a being of the angel and archangel realms. Again, feel it in your heart, feel it in your hands, feel it in your eyes. Feel how when you look at another being in this state of being, you are sending them angel, archangel light just through your eyes, just by looking, just by being. It's pure love, pure divine love. Not invasive, it just is. And so taking another long, slow, deep breath, we invite you to stay with this as long as you want and as long as you need. And over the coming days or a couple of weeks, as you're leading up to the lunar eclipse, and certainly as you get there and then beyond, we invite you to just settle in this energy of yourself as the angel, archangel realm being that you are, and experiment, practice, see what it's like to be at a store or be in a room or be with family or be by yourself and really be this energy. What shifts when you look around the room and you feel that this archangel and angel realm light just moving through your eyes as you scan the room, or moving through your consciousness, moving through your heart? When you say hello to another person, again, not in an invasive way, but you just gently say hello, and this light is emanating from your heart, or it's slowly glowing in your heart, gently glowing, and also glowing in your eyes. What comes alive? What is that interaction like? We just invite you to begin noticing, because just as the other realms have been saying over and over and over again through Martha and others, the veils are gone. The veils haven't really been that strong between us and the world, but the thing that has been more true is that there has still been a sense of separation, that the angels are over there, up there, or out there, and they're going to save me or bring some kind of miracle, which certainly has a truth to it. But the reality is that we are you. And so part of us coming back into the world is us really, or I would say, we would say more like you re-inhabiting the truth of you as us. So you are Astraea. You are the embodiment of heaven and earth as one, the light and earth as one. You are the golden age. And part of you being and living the golden age, or the co-creating new earth, is us as you, as one. And then over time, more and more and more powerfully, beings such as the inner earth beings, the fairy realms, the gnomes, the star beings, certainly especially Syrian light beings, and Pleiadians, more and more and more. So many infinite benevolent realms. We all will be converging as the one over time. This coming year is very powerful for that. This coming year and a half, very powerful for that, and certainly beyond that. But we are kind of you could say, an easy entry point for many of you to be re-embodying yourself as the angel and archangel realms. It's a easier kind of more familiar territory. So we invite you to start with us in this way and observe and share what this is like, what comes alive. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, as always, for being exactly you, as Martha says. And see you again very soon. And so it is. Amen. Very cool. Love it. Okay. Yeah, share with us. I would love to hear. What's that like? Yeah, wow, I was feeling in myself. I haven't, yeah, I could say so many other things. I haven't consciously been thinking about my relationship with angels in a really long time. And so I find it really fascinating that my guides were so specific that I need to hold this angel journey, with Emmanuel this in starting in September and October. And what I'm recognizing in that channeling is how much I think I already embody it. I think a lot of us do, right? Like I'm thinking about one of these recent interactions I had a few days ago. And I was in this room filled with a lot of people, I would say, suffering in a lot of ways, and some of them not interacting with me in the most pleasant ways. And but I felt so solid and so good in like I had a moment of kind of panicking, a little like human part of me is like, yikes, I don't want to deal with this. But it was a really important situation I was in. So I had to persevere and I just dropped into my heart. I wasn't thinking angel realm. I wasn't thinking about any of this. I was just like being in my heart, being really dedicated to the love I felt in the situation going on there. And very particular people in the situation who really, really, really matter to me, um, including my kids who were there. And yeah, but I just kind of like just stayed centered in that heart space um and imagined, just felt like this light coming out of my heart just around everything, just filling the room everywhere. And yeah, some pretty beautiful, miraculous things happened and just really kind of uncanny. And by the end of the whole thing, it was a very beautiful experience, very healing. And yeah, it could have gone a really different way if I had gotten caught up in like the drama or the kind of negative stuff coming my way. I just let it go. Like had my little moment of inner panic and then just didn't go there. Um, and I'm recognizing in the channeling, oh, I mean, that could be all kinds of things, but now that the feeling of the angel and archangel energy is very probably actually what I was emanating without even realizing it. Wasn't thinking about it in that way at all. But I think it's more natural to many of us than maybe we realize. So I'm curious, yeah, share what that feels like for you, how the energies feel for you. Certainly for me, it's more familiar and natural than like the inner earth realms, which of course I love and are familiar for me, but yeah. Yeah. Anyway, share. I'm super curious what that's like. Very cool. All right. Well, I'll be back very soon with the latest installment of the Divine Lotus session with Emmanuel, actually, very, very soon. And yeah, and more to come. So much more to come. Okay. Oh, and if you do want to join us, I forgot to say this, if you do want to join us just for these solar and lunar eclipse channelings, well, now it's going to be the lunar eclipse channeling is the very last gathering for the Mercury journey. I made it possible now to join the entirety of the Mercury journey by donation. So it's basically kind of give any amount almost. And you can have access to the whole thing. You know, it's almost entirely over. But if you want to be present and you want to enjoy the channelings coming through for these eclipses, you're very welcome. Um, yeah, I did that for yesterday for the solar eclipse because starting then, because it just felt like what was going to come through was going to be really, really important for certain people who hadn't joined yet. And so it made it very, very easy to join. And yeah, I'm glad I did because what came through was amazing to me at least. Um, and I have a guess that the lunar eclipse channeling for the Mercury journey also will be quite special, but this already was quite special. So yeah, anyway, just want to give that as an option if that's calling to you. Um, yeah. And of course, certainly join the angel journey if that calls to you, and the New Earth Soul Business journey if that calls to you, and the thing this Sunday here in Santa Barbara if that calls to you. So no pressure ever. But thank you so, so, so much for being here. And yeah, share what came alive for you in that because very special and I am very curious. Okay. See you soon.